Doesn't like Paul.
Sure he does. Sure he does.
You want water, Gracie?
I'm good, thank you.
How you doing, Mr. Gates?
Good, I think we're set.
You set? Has Seth made the party yet?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
on.
he's in the middle.
Oh, he's that little round thing? Oh, great.
I think he wants us to see him.
And Seth, don't worry about the things you're gonna be assigned to.
There's gonna be some assigning to you, so just be prepared.
Okay.
Are we gonna go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Danielle, would you lead us in the flag salute, please?
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the minutes from the October 20th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the October 20th meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. It's approved. Additions or deletions to the agenda?
That has three.
Where do they go, Doug?
Under consent agenda, H, coaches stipends. And there's three of them, so I'll give them to. I would be capital levy, and that'd be action info. Same with coaches stipend. And then J is board swearing in. It's just information. We're not doing that tonight.
Oh. No, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's just info. Capital
Levy.
Capital levy.
Yes.
Sure we are.
I move we excuse Morgan from tonight's meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve Morgan's dismissal from the meeting this evening. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Passes. Okay, we're on that now. That's a problem. Good job, sir. Welcome, audience, and positive comments. Are there any positive or otherwise comments? Well, Gracie, it's your turn.
Okay. We have had an exciting month since last board meeting. The week before homecoming, we had a fall decorating night. The classes were split up and they all had different decorates to decorate for. The senior class decorated for the 60s and the junior class decorated for the 80s. We combined the freshman and sophomore due to a lack of people and they decorated for YDK. The alumni volleyball game was definitely a positive experience for the crowd and players. We believe this event would be a great annual event. After the first set, we crowned the homecoming royalty in front of the crowd. On Friday of homecoming week, we held a pep rally for the middle and high school. Before we went up to the gym, we passed out candy and toys to the elementary students as they did their parade. We started it off by recognizing the middle and high school sports. Then we proceeded to crown the royalty in front of the school. The royalty was announced, and then they walked down the red carpet. After they were announced, they sat back to back and picked who's most likely to. The classes got points for every question they agreed on. We moved on to the class volleyball game. We had a high school game that was freshmen and seniors versus sophomores and juniors. Then there was a middle school game, and they were divided into even teams. Then there was a game called Lover's League, where everyone gets into pairs of two, then they run opposite ways until a pose is called. The last pair to get into a position is out. The next game we played was Name That Song game. The classes had to walk from corners of the gym to grab a cone in the middle. The first person to grab the cone gets the answer. They got points if they got the artist and the name of the song. There was a bonus game at the end where you had to finish the lyrics of the songs. The next game was Hunter vs. Bear. It's an alternative version of rock, paper, scissors, and tag. We ended the pep rally by playing musical spots, which is basically musical chairs but with spots on the ground. The next night we had a school bonfire for the high school in 8th grade. We had many people bring someone from another school, and it was a fun experience for most people who attended. Due to the size of our school, we believed that this was a great alternative to a school dance. We had everyone bring a snack/dessert of some sort to the fire. We were worried about the weather beforehand, but the weather started to clear up towards the start of the fire. The bonfire was a great way to celebrate homecoming, but also clean up around the school. On November 7th, we had an assembly to announce a new quarter character trait. This character trait is optimism. We explained what this meant and had students give examples of how they use optimism. After this, we played a high school game where people had to run in a circle and catch pool noodles before they dropped. Another game we played was a game where the superhero teams had to bring objects that started with a letter that we displayed on the screen. The last game we played was rock, paper, scissors, chain, where if you lose, you get in line behind the person. We also presented the Tiger Cat Awards. The ASB also helped run the Veterans Day Assembly. We started off the assembly by welcoming the veterans and giving the background to the holiday. We helped set up chairs and get the muffins ready. We proceeded to announce all the people presenting. Now we are working on planning our teamwork day on Friday and also events for winter. Are there any questions?
Thank you for filling us in.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, enjoy the drive home.
One second.
Oh, you gotta come back.
But, did you talk about the Veterans Day?
Yes.
We had a really good Veterans Day seminar. It was really cool. The ASB kids got up and, when you walk out on Teresa's thing, there you'll see an emblem that represented each area of we do part of the service. And you had each part of the service people stand out, and our kids were really involved. I think every class in elementary was presentation. It really is hard work.
Oh, good.
It's the most veteran
Kids
letters.
did a great job. There's a lot of kids involved. Afterwards, a lot of veterans stuck around for a long time. They really appreciated what happened. One of the guys that came over was Mark Wigan.
Really?
He came to ours rather than go to a hostess. And I asked him why he got it, and he said it's because he was so impressed with the letter. He got a personal letter from the ASB kids, and everybody got a personal letter from him. He said he was so impressed with the letter, he decided to skip Boy Scouts and come over here.
Wow.
That was cool. And I know Teresa had a lot to do with that, so she's not, well, she's here, but she's not here. But it was, I just wanted to commend it up and awesome. It was really good.
About how many were at the bonfire, you know?
I'd say all except for 3 high schoolers
Okay.
came,
Okay.
and a lot of people brought like a friend from another school.
Okay.
And then we had 8th grade, and the reason behind the 8th grade was we had 8th graders play up on our volleyball team, and that was our homecoming game, so we thought that they should be invited. And we invited like Jolie and Kate Roberts, because they were also a part of our team.
Yeah.
Great.
So I would say, rough estimate, like 25.
Okay.
30 maybe.
Great.
It was a lot of fun.
Great. I mean, well, it's been a long time since there's been a bonfire.
Yes.
I mean, a long time.
It's a little less awkward than the school dance.
Well, yeah.
I heard a lot of
We had both, but that's okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people were talking
yeah,
about
I-
Veterans Day. A lot of
I
positive
just-
things. I heard.
Was quite surprised we had a bonfire. It's been a long time.
And on the Veterans Day thing, they have a new thing that they started this year across the country. It's called Go for Longer.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
And that's one thing I was going to talk about. I saw a friend of mine, one of my high school teachers, was awarded Go for Longer. It's kind of a new thing. You know,
I was gonna say my grandfather's son.
yeah, it's really.
Oh, does
And it was a really cool ceremony where the older ladies in the town like made the quilt, and it was a whole ceremony presenting, it was really cool.
Yeah, they've had some specials on TV about it, just recently.
Okay.
Since this fall. And one of my classmates was actually involved in the selection process.
Oh.
Oh. She was telling me about it. because there are some.
Good job. Great job. Thanks.
Make sure to tell the other officers too. We're impressed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. I've talked it over here with Terry a little bit. We're going to table 2020 and 2020P one more time. I hope we have a little input on that one for next time.
Yeah, I was gonna, Teresa and I have been talking about it, and I started sitting down to go over some of the stuff, but the more I looked at it, the more I think it would be really good to have a full house to talk about it.
Sure.
I mean, 2410, which has to do with graduation requirements, is a big deal. 2020 course design adoption, that's a pretty big deal. And I just think it would be really good if we had all the board members here and Teresa could be here. And we have a lot of other stuff to talk about tonight. So, and then the same with leave sharing, because that could have some impact on on the whole district too. I'd like to spend one more time kind of really about that.
So you want to table
All of
the
those,
policies
those are
tonight?
Well, A, B, C, and D. I just think we need to have more to be better.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to table consent agenda A, B, C, and D.
I'll make that motion to table consent agenda A, B, C, and D.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to table consent agenda A, B, C, and D. We'll move that on to the next meeting. What do we want to do with E, F, and G?
Okay, I have some stuff right now.
Okay.
Okay, on 2415, that's the first reading.
Yes.
This is actually part of the graduation deal. We do not have this policy right now. 2415 is a new proposed policy by WASDA. My understanding, and I haven't sat down and talked to Teresa about it very much. She probably has more knowledge about it than I do. But this is going to be a requirement, and I'm not sure if I think it starts next year, but it's going to be a requirement that every school adopt a performance-based pathway for high school graduation. And if you look at the policy part of one of the last meetings I went to, they emphasized this. That this is that's going to have a pretty significant change because it's going to allow students to set. I'm not the word substitute's the right word, but to use like a work-based performance, some project, to actually count for graduation in some of the ways that it's never been able to count for. If you look at the bullet points, under the first one, performance-based pathway includes the following components: proposed, created by the students, or learning abstract or performance-based pathway. And it's I don't know a lot about it, but it's just the first reading. But what I was told at one of the meetings I went to is that it's going to be a requirement. I believe it starts next year. So they're asking. My understanding is they're asking schools to get prepared this year. It's something maybe even in the curriculum opportunities for kids. It's based to like it would open up opportunities possibly in a shop class for maybe a math credit. You know, if they would like to build a tiny home or something. But it's like I said, it's going to be a performance-based credit avenue. The procedure part basically lines up with some of the new RCWs approving student proposals. And my understanding is they're going to open it up so that students can actually create their own proposal, and then the district would have to approve it, and it would count towards credit. If you go down to like the second bullet, it talks in there about a description of the student learning experience, including relevant safety measures to ensure student safety, work-based learning rules, industrial safety standards, youth employment regulations and district risk management. One of the big pushes when we get to the legislative session of the meeting today is that's going to be, some of this must come from the legislature, because the legislature wants to push like work-based experiences with credit so that the kids can graduate and have more certifications that go on, open up opportunities like fine arts, math, science, and some cross credit.
Is this in-house, or is this like our kids can get these credits by taking a class, or I don't know.
My understanding is, and Teresa may be able to answer more, that the students come up with a project and they propose how they want to do credit and what credit they can get. That's my understanding. I could be off a little bit, but I think I'm on it correct. But, and so some of it could be done at home, some of it could be done at school, it could be a science project. It's supposed to be kind of, we do some cross-curricular accreditation, like ag and science now. This would expand it a lot. And I think one reason for this is there's schools around the Spokane area in northern Idaho that are losing lots of students because there's I'm not sure if they're colleges, but they're like work-based schools. And so kids are dropping really, like, I know my grandson, he gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning and goes to a work-based school, and he learns carpentry, he learns diesel mechanics, and there's all these things, and he doesn't report them to Grafton High School until 11 o'clock. And he gets credits from that institution that those high schools are losing FTE on
Yeah.
those kids.
And that's kind of what I was saying. Is this in-house? Is
And
this
so I
out-house?
think some of this is directed toward bigger schools that are, bigger areas that are losing kids to these work-based, schools.
But it's all our kids are gonna have to do this.
You don't have
No.
to, but
It's not a requirement for graduation?
I don't think so.
it's a requirement for us to
Offer it.
Offer it, okay, I'm getting it now.
Yeah, they could continue just the way they have been.
Okay.
They choose to.
But I do know, like my grandson, he was school at 2 hours a day, as well as the rest of the time he takes the car. It's like Oakdale sends their kids up, they send a bus up to Spokane every day. They're up there for 3 or 4 hours doing skill work. And somehow, I'm not sure how they work out the FTE, but I know at the school my grandson goes to, they call it K-Tech. K-Tech is the name of the school they go to. And they're in business.
Right.
They're raising money by bringing in kids. Right. So the schools are suffering. I don't know what kind of arrangement I was going to ask, but it's something. And it's impacting all the schools around school. So this is just. 6220P. Sorry, we have a 6220 policy, but we do not have a 6220P. And so this is there wasn't one in the laws that happened, there wasn't a proposal. So they came out with this, and this goes into a little more detail on all the RCWs that go with 6220. I looked through it today. We did adopt the policy a year ago this month, in November of 24, but we did not have a procedure to go with it. So this is the procedure. And, it goes through it and lines everything up with the RCWs. We have kind of a pretty good deal now with our agreement with Apollo, because part of Apollo is the Department of Enterprise Services. That was called Apollo. Part of their company is that they have a connection with this called the Department of Enterprise Services. Because of that agreement, and because we signed an agreement, we're able to bypass some of the requirements, and which can help us in terms of time.
Some of these big requirements in this policy?
Some, I think. Because like when we were going to, like for instance, like with cracks, instead of hiring Greg Castellon to run the project, you know, as an architect, go through all the bid process and all that stuff, having Apollo to apply for the grant because they have the agreement with DPS. Quite a bit of the bid requirements are exempt, like where it's this doesn't. My understanding is this procedure doesn't change everything. It's a procedure for the policy that we adopted. And I can get you more information on, like, the policy says, you know, like for jobs that cost $40,000 or less, as opposed you have to do $75,000 or less, and $75,000 or more. People like the process.
Well, Doug, you're the one who does all this, so if you're okay with this policy, we can probably approve this one tonight. If you're okay with it. There's no reason.
We don't have a procedure right now for the policy.
Right. I mean, if this,
If this is the procedure for the policy, then we go ahead.
yeah, and if you're okay with it in there, we'll get one off the road anyway.
Procedure also. That'd be it.
I move we approve consent agenda item F, policy 6220P.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve policy 6220P as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes. It's approved.
Are we tabling 2450? Second.
It's,
We're tabling for the next one?
it sounded like yes.
Okay.
For which one's it?
I just asked about E since we,
E,
Oh.
yeah.
yeah, are we just
Passed
tabling?
up on E.
Yeah, that's why.
What do you want to do about E, Doug, with 2415?
Well, we're gonna have to do it, and if we don't have a policy right now,
We just don't have the,
Oh, so we're gonna wait till next time, because that's the first reading.
right, I mean,
So we don't have to even have to have an action on that,
Okay,
because it's first reading. So we just wait till next time, if that's what everybody wants to do.
that's fine. I mean, if this is the policy that we're gonna have to adopt for this program, then we've got to figure out how to make the program, what we can offer,
yeah,
but that's gonna happen regardless.
sure, we can still work on that policy itself.
We could change some of this, make it work for us, so. Yep.
We're that's just first reading, so
Okay.
moving over to the other area. So now we're gonna move on to 3510 and 3510P.
Okay, 3510 is ASD bodies. We adopted this policy in 2021. The only change that I could find is on the second page. Now it's going to be a requirement to post it on the website. Everything with the requirement to post all this information on our school website.
But the rest of the same, so complex.
Probably to go. You might want to wait on this one for the chance to talk to the treasurer. It's going to have to do with work.
That's fine.
Okay.
First reading, we can just, that's all we need to know.
And that would be the same with the PE too.
Okay. 6H, coaches stipends.
Yeah.
I think we had 3 coaching contracts.
Okay.
So we have Jeff Gates and Colby Starring are co-coaching the junior high boys basketball team. And their stipends are $1,957 each. And then we have Lauren Hart, who is coaching junior high cheer, and her stipend is $1,561.
I can give you a little bit of background on how this got together. And then Jeff can put the work. When we opened up the when we opened up the junior high position, at that time, we didn't know if we were gonna have a high school voice team or not. And my understanding is that Colby had expressed interest in both interests, but then when the boys' high school was gonna go, then he was interested in maybe helping with the junior high. But Jeff had already started practice with the junior high because we didn't have coaches. And so that's my understanding how it is. So right now, we're both working with the kids. You know, there's one, the first game Jeff couldn't be at, so he had another conflict, and so Kobe went. And the last 2 games, they both.
So we didn't have anybody apply, Jeff, or the.
No.
Is
So
that accurate, or?
Yeah, I mean, so the plan was Colby was going to coach the high school team, and then hopefully I could have found somebody, but so he had some stuff too where he wasn't sure he could do it, and so he said he'd help, and that's kind of where we've been. Which it's been good that there's 2 of us because we're just that far behind. So it's been good to have 2 sets of eyes, and especially with some other things that it's been good. So that's kind of how we've been doing it. It's worked well for us. So
I think it's good. I mean, the kids are right behind, and they're competing against 8th graders. You know, so actually, we're getting a lot of comments by people on the ground with the kids' effort. You know, and each week, each game, they look. You know, got a long ways to go. It's unfortunate that we don't have any older kids that 7th grade is important. And then the other one is Lauren Hart.
Lauren Hart for junior high cheer. 1,500. $1,561. She's got 8 girls cheering. They'll be cheering for boys basketball.
So, like, do we have a motion to approve all the junior high coaches?
Certainly can, as presented
Yeah, 'cause I didn't write.
from Tanya.
Yeah, 'cause-
I move we approve the junior high coaches as presented.
second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve consent agenda item 6H, coaches stipends as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, it passes. Approved. Capital levy.
Okay, I put together kind of a packet for you. It's got a yellow thing on the front of it. Last month, we decided that we were going to move forward towards getting ready to run a capital levy. Okay, so we contacted our attorney, Foster Gardy, informed them that we need to start working on a resolution. And so as far as the work part of the resolution, this is what I gave him on the yellow piece of paper. There's 6 things that we could use the capital levy funds for. First one is replacing the lighting in the gym. Second one is replace the gym floor with a new wood and finish. Anyway, the third one is to remodel the entrance to the gym to enclose that area that we talked about when we were going to do the gym remodel. And then the next one is to repair the cracks in both the elementary and the secondary building. The last one is to repair both the elementary and secondary buildings. When we applied, remember last month we applied for the energy repair grant through Apollo. The max on that is $600,000. We don't know if we're going to get that. Well, hopefully, I'm hoping we go by mid-December. But if we're going to run a capital levy, we have to have everything submitted to the county by December 12th. Okay, and so when I talked to Lee, our attorney, he just suggested that we list all this stuff on there so that he can write the resolution to include. On the next page, this is just the draft. I've got a resolution. We're gonna, after tonight, we'll have an idea of what we want, and we'll probably have to schedule a quick special meeting to actually approve it. And then make sure we have everything ready to go before December 12th. You can read through this if you want. A lot of it is the same language that we use every capital letter. And I just want to make, when I gave this list to him, I want to make sure that it included all of these 5 areas. Okay? The one area that the board needs to decide tonight is on page 5 of the document, under section 6. They have to decide how much we're going to ask for, and then that'll dictate how much the tax rate will be. On the next thing that's information for you is the LaCrosse High School gym cost estimate. Last week, Greg came down with one of his engineers, and Harm was here, and Randy was here, and we asked him to give us estimates on how much it would cost to, it should be in the same packet. We asked him to give us estimates on the gym entry options, the gym floor replacement option, the gym lights, and then the acoustical wall panels. And so yesterday, Greg sent this to me. This is the cost estimates of each one of those projects and how much it would cost. If you look at the last page, gave us a couple different options on A and B. The descriptions for A and B are in the front. We don't have to decide this tonight. We're just giving you what the options are. And those are the costs at the bottom there on the last page. Option A, $405,000. Option B, $566,000. He told me that he estimates really high. Just that if he's going to err on the high side. For the gym floor replacement, there's 2 options, the A and the B, and the first one is 466, and the next one is 435. Now that's not going through KCDA. We're a member of the KCDA, which is the school co-op buying deal. When Organ told me over the phone that it's possible that number could be cut in half through KCDA. But he didn't have any way of knowing how much KCDA would cost the KCDA. When Oakdale did theirs in 2023, and that was what they did is the exact same process. Instead of tearing the floor up and laying the subfloor, they just put the floor down. And then they had to raise everything else. They had to raise the issues, they had to raise the baskets.
That's what this is, like the basketball model standards would need to be raised. If we did that, okay, good.
But 3 years ago, through KCDA, Oakdale paid $158,000. That's 3 years. 2020, so straight in 2022. So this is the 3rd season on that floor. So he said you could save 50%. He could get no way of knowing how much this is. This is market value. You would just go out to bid at the higher season. And then the next 2 are the gym replacement, which I think was a pretty high priority of the lighting. And that was we have number of customers for. So it's the best case scenario is if we get the urgent repair grant for $600,000, and then we get say that we collect 1.2 million on the capital levy, and that's what we would have to pay for the cracks, everything on this.
I did a spreadsheet in the very back of your guys' packets, and I updated one that I sent out earlier. And just kind of I used that, not what we got today, one that we got last week of the $1,172,439, the 1 million. So this is just kind of a rough estimate, so you guys know where we're at, what it would cost with the projects we have so far that we want to do, from what Greg sent us, with the grant and without the grant. And then if we run the capital levy with that 1,172,000 amount.
And then today, there's a lot to look at.
We have the
Well, if you want to, when you get a chance, if you want to call this up, it's our last day, that report. The doctor, Martin and I talked, and Lee and Corey both told us we just need to decide how much we want to collect. But it wasn't really quite that simple, because we also wanted to get something that was passable. And-
Correct.
And I talked to Hart a few times, and his suggestion was that we keep it as close to the tax rate that we're at. So that, like right now, this year, we started at last year, we started, I think, around 147, and
Yep.
like 139.
Yep.
$1.39 for assessed value. Corey Plager worked up these numbers. It was interesting, when I went down to the assessor and I talked to her again today, they're projecting in 2026 that our assessed value for our land is gonna go down from $267 million down to $249 million. And today she told me that number is more likely to be under $249 million.
Really?
So she told me today. And so, but Corey left the 249 on there because he didn't, he thought it was gonna be, he was surprised that it went down. He's been estimating, his suggestion was that we estimate, even with next year going down, that we estimated a 2.5% growth rate. And so, Harm's challenge to us was to try to find a way to collect as much money as we could, but not raise the tax rate. That makes sense? So that's the way Tommy and I presented it to Corey. So his two suggestions are, like scenario, well, if you go on in scenario 7, you do the 2.5 assessed value growth rate, and you start out at $1.47 will be next year, and that's still on this levy. I mean, the levy's currently,
We don't have to approve that one. That one's already.
that's already set.
The 26 year, we've already approved for. We gotta worry about 7, 8.
20, so that would do, if you just go by assessed value and increase to 2.5, then in 27 at $1.50 per assessed value, that would generate $383,000 per year. 2028, it would generate $393,000, and 2029, it would generate $4,000, for a total of $1.1 million. The other scenario that we asked you about was if we just want a flat rate that we want to generate $400,000 each year. So if you go down to scenario 8, that's a 3-year levy, same scenario, 2.5%. But if you look down under capital levy amount, it's $400,000 each year for a total of 1.2, and then over here is projected. That's projected levy rate. So it started at 156, 153, 149. So that's higher than the one above that we generated. 1.1. Did I explain that right? And so our choices were to shoot for a tax rate of $1.50 for 3 years in a row, And he estimates that that's what it would generate is 1.1 million. If we said that we want to raise $400,000 a year, then the tax rate was obviously going to be higher. It would be 156, 153, and 149. And those are the numbers that we have to put in the resolution that's section 6.
It's not, I never realized that the rate per thousand changes.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
I thought it was a set amount.
Well, but Terry, when you get that big packet from the assessor that shows your land values, that's where this is generated from. So, I mean, our value, Harm and Jan's value, we didn't see a decrease in our land value. We actually saw it go up for next year. So I don't know where it went down, but it went down somewhere, quite a bit, actually, to go down 5%, almost, well, 6.5%. That's a lot down. That's a lot down. I've never, ever seen it go negative in my whole farming career.
I
So,
remember, right, we got a letter saying they don't go into that much detail every year. Like, this is one where they actually brought people in and evaluated, like, they're not gonna do that every year. So that 6.5 is like this multi-year reevaluation. And then I don't think that they'll keep doing it, which is why they have that increase of the 2.5% they think it's gonna be. And when I talked to Ray Lee, I just messaged Ray Lee, and she made those comments about the soil, that we have a lot more farm ground that's not, that they found is not as valuable for farming or cattle or whatever, is why they lowered our rate. So obviously there's something in Whitman County that they really attacked the land value or soil value somewhere.
Lady told me that the soil value is different here than it is on the east side.
oh, sure it is. Oh, yeah, sure it is. It's always been that way.
Well, in a lot of cases, we've got better soil than we do east of us.
Correct.
So it'd be fascinating to see how this came about, why they would even, whether anybody can even start talking about
Yeah,
this.
I'm shocked.
I'm really shocked. I just,
Because when Doug told me we were gonna go down 6.5%, I'm going, no.
I just can't see that.
That's not happening. But apparently it's going to. I mean, apparently it's going to.
Because that's already done, right? Is that what?
That's done for next year.
But then starts going back up again.
Well,
What if they
Well,
not really.
propose?
It's proposed. That's a proposal.
Right.
and he said, talking to Corey, he said that if you say you want X amount of money, then you don't know exactly what the dollar per thousand is going to
Right,
be
right.
Until the time.
Yeah, but if you, it's kind of the other way too. If you say okay, we're only gonna charge the taxpayers $1.50. If you don't know for sure, you're projecting you're gonna get 400,000.
But if it went down over 6.5%, you wouldn't get that. See what I mean? Because you'd only be at about 50.
Yeah. I mean, I would think for our planning purposes and stuff, we need to know what we're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, we do.
So.
I just didn't, Terry, when you look up here in 22, the $1.51 is the highest that we've ever gotten per thousand, and that you and I have been charged. And I was trying to stay, I wouldn't mind being below that a little, but I don't think, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we can or not.
Well, and the difference between these two numbers
Isn't anything.
isn't it?
It isn't.
So,
Because we're just projecting this 2.5, but it could be lower than that or higher than that.
That's right. You're right.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and Corey really stressed, he's like, I wouldn't go with the 5, he said 5 would be a really, really bold move, so and that's why he's focusing on the 2.5.
Well, I'm happy with that. I wouldn't want to say 5.
No, but it could.
But when you look at 22 through 25, there was only 1 year of those that was above 5.
Sure.
And there was a 0.59 in there. Now that would hurt us big time if we only have that, where we're worried, where we said we're gonna have a 2.5. So we definitely don't wanna do the 5, I mean, for sure. We can't count on 5, I don't think. I mean, that's just my opinion. But it looks like 3 out of 4 years in the past, other than 26, it's been above 2. So, I mean, we're gambling like we do farming. It's the same deal right here.
And we're not getting this until, this information isn't gonna be said till 27, right, or 26. 27. I mean,
That's right.
okay. So yeah, I get it. Alright,
I'm sorry, but that's how it is.
okay.
And it's always been that way.
It's just, I just don't ever remember having this conversation. I remember setting the rate per thousand
Yep,
and estimating what we were gonna get for money.
yep.
But I don't ever remember going through the same list.
I don't think we ever have, actually. I think because
I think
we've
the one's
never-
been set, right? I mean,
Or we just made assumptions that it was gonna be this, or we just, I don't know.
I feel like we've seen the chart, but it's just like set, that
We
this
just
is what
passed
we,
where you decided we're gonna go 366.
Yep, that's what we did.
okay.
That's what we did.
So that's why we didn't have this discussion. 'Cause we don't have it.
Right.
So.
Because whatever the rate we needed to get to 366, that's what we charged.
Oh, got it.
That's what we
That
charged.
makes sense.
That's what we charged.
Okay, okay.
But I think it's good information for us.
Yes.
To see how it is.
Absolutely. So what do we do?
I think we go with this 1,180,000. And see what happens. That's what I think we do.
I agree with that too.
Cause those are all pretty close to our 400 anyway.
I mean, there's just my opinion. It's kind of-
Which one?
7.
7.
7.
And hope that we hit a,
It's gonna be $1.50 every.
yep,
Yep.
it would be $1.50 every year. So if it goes up, we're gonna get a little more. If it goes down, we're gonna get less. We're gambling just like we normally do.
Sounds fine to me.
I mean, if you guys felt better setting it at, like $393,000 or something for all 3 years, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
The bottom is 400.
Yep, bottom is 400. Because then you'd know what you're going to get, for sure. But it might be $160,000 also. That you and I are, that everybody's gonna pay. So, I mean,
I'm okay with this. Instead of keeping it even.
Yeah, well, if they make the decision, it will happen, right, the resolution, finish the resolution. And then have a special resolution.
Yeah.
But if they make the decision that they're gonna go.
that gets us 1,170,000. That'd be 393. I mean, that's $1,000 to us. But, I
That's
mean,
what, yeah,
it doesn't amount to anything.
that's why I said just leave it.
But I'll do.
Yeah, so if they make the decision.
But
then
for Tanya, it would be better if she had to set
And then pass it.
393 for all 3 years. Because then she could do a lot of money.
Right, but it does seem that we are pretty fluid as we move forward. We're constantly looking at our tax receipts,
Yeah.
what we've got
Yeah.
in, and we adjust as we go. Anyway, we don't,
And she
we're
does,
not signing anything up, 6 months from now, that's gonna spend 1.18. So, no, I think it's fine. I think it's fine that way. And we're all very mindful of our taxpayers, when we don't get too far out, so.
It's gonna get, so we're talking about another 366, so 393 minus 366. We're talking $27,000 a year more than what we're getting today if we set the 390, or the 383, excuse me, 383. So it'd be generating us another 75 grand. So from compared to today's 3-year situation, which doesn't buy us much, but
Well, like we're talking about too, especially the way the state has pulled back their funding. We have to make up for that somehow, somewhere, in places we can. No, I'm okay with that. All of it's a little bit of a gamble.
Yep.
So.
that's what I think.
Okay.
Seth, you're all right with 7?
Yeah, I like 7.
Okay. Danielle?
Yep, yep.
Are we gonna just have a motion for that one? Go for it.
Well, we still gotta let him know that he has to change the resolution, we'll have to meet again.
And approve the
Okay.
resolution. Okay.
Okay, that's great.
At a special meeting, I'll also talk to you about the things that we're about. I
Gotcha.
think we have to, we missed the deadline, they sent us out a letter of this or something in early September about the Roman camps.
Oh, yeah.
That time we weren't talking about Northern staff, but we said we missed the deadline, so we have to do it. So I'll have more time to spend on first and make sure that.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have,
Not voting on
we don't need an action item from us?
it. Well, I just need to tell you.
Which one?
Yeah.
Okay, got it, okay,
And
got
then, he also included in there that, I think goes in the resolution, they would want to know our meeting date. Oh, we're gonna set to approve the resolution, so we can set that tonight.
We need to set a date for the next meeting, for a special meeting.
it. You have to contact him first?
No,
Oh.
I just didn't let you know so you didn't, before the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take,
We'll probably just do a Zoom thing for that anyway, Doug, to approve that, unless you have a lot of stuff that you want to talk to us about.
Not just about the, what goes in the ballot.
Okay, we're pro and against. Well,
We can do that on this one.
I mean, I don't care, we can do it either way, I just,
I'll contact him and see how long that takes to do it.
okay,
Yeah.
we'll just set a date then. Before we move on, Doug, I want to talk to these two and Seth about the money that he's saying it's going to cost us here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And Terry will remember, I think, but we were going to do this real fancy, add a bunch of glass, add to the roof, do a whole bunch of stuff to the entrance to the gym. Did you see that too, Daniel?
I kind of got on right at the end and you guys, I kind of saw a little bit of it, but
So I dug that out.
Okay.
And the fancy one was gonna be this $400,000 one, way back when.
oh,
But now the, what I call the less expensive one, is the same. So I'm not saying we should do any of these yet. I'm just saying that it's went up $166,000 since we didn't do that to that entrance way. And I'm not saying we have to do it. I'm just shocked at the cost difference. That's only been, what's it been? 4 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
I mean,
okay, tell me the difference between this whole what's the difference between the entryways here, A and B?
well,
Just,
the $405 one is basically closing in the existing entryway now. Just leave the roof the way it is and add glass or whatever to where the walkway is.
yes, I
That's
see that.
covered.
Yep. Yes, I know, canopy covered, okay.
And the other one is the the one for 566 is the real fancy one that because we gave that actual drawing to him when he was here, the
Okay,
fancy one.
and that would have display cases.
This had the change in the elevation of the roof
Oh,
and a whole bunch of glass, and I mean, it was gonna be really nice. It was gonna be, no question about it. But that was before we did the connector also. Because we were still gonna be leaving it, we're still gonna be leaving and coming through that door, but not to come down here for our dinners or our whatever. We're gonna be going through the connector to do that.
yes.
So we won't be using that doors as much as we have in the past. So anyway, I was just quite, I mean, it almost, 400 to 600 is a huge increase in cost.
And we all know what inflation has done in the last 4 years. I mean, so it is extraordinary circumstances.
It is, but I just go,
Oof.
my land. I mean, I was just shocked by myself. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Then I want to talk about the gym floor a little bit, because Doug had to leave a little early when we were up there. He had to come for the Veterans Day thing. The thing that's concerning me about just overlaying onto the old floor isn't raising the basket or any of that stuff. That's not bothering me. That's not going to be that hard. I mean, it's going to be a little hard, but I'm worried about the entrances into the gym, the doorways, where we're going to have to add something so people don't trip there every time they go in and out. And Greg didn't have a real good answer for me on how we were not going to trip there and fall down every time. So that's something I want us to talk about when it comes to that time. And granted, it isn't that much difference in his cost, except if we get half for doing an overlay like what Oaksdale did. Now we've just paid twice what we should have paid. So, but I wanted everybody to be a little concerned about how we're going to work on those doors to get in and out of the gymnasium if we just overlay. And it's not much of an overlay. It's about, what did he say, like 3/4 of an inch, Doug, or something? It's not much.
Is that gonna fix the dead spots? The
Well,
overlay?
it would help.
He said it would help.
He said it's like putting a roof over a roof, just making it scarier.
We could get done though and still have dead spots.
We could.
Okay, sir. So we could not do the overlay, and if we didn't do the overlay and just replaced it, we're looking at the 463,000 versus the 435,000.
Well, and one thing that we didn't ask him to price out is tearing it up, and you tear it up and then lay a subfloor, which is concrete, and then lay the floor.
How much?
But what he would do though, Doug, if he tore up the old floor, what he told me is we'd walk the floor before they tore the old floor out, and we'd mark where the dead spot is. And then when the old floor came out, we would work on subfloor problems in those areas. He said we might not fix it 100%, but we would help it a lot. Because he says all there is down there at least in his mind, he hasn't seen it, but there's pillars and stringers that this sets on, that the floor sets on. It's a suspended floor.
Is it sitting on concrete?
No, the pillars might be. He doesn't know that for sure until we tear it out and look. He thinks it is. He doesn't know because no one's there since 1960.
Right.
Obviously.
They used to, when they first built that, the air conditioning, heat ventilation, the return was under the floor.
Right.
And so there's tunnels that go underneath the floor, and then when they did the remodeling, is when they actually discovered how big the tunnels were when they tore up the floor, and so they just filled them in underneath what's our current locker room and all that stuff. So those tunnels are still there.
Under the gymnasium floor.
Under the floor.
Okay.
Inside the gym.
Okay, so neither one of these is ripping out the existing floor.
Yes. Yeah, Doug, I think it is.
It would, okay. Demolition of
It
the
says Jim
existing,
Fur replace, so that's what I think. I think
demolition of the existing.
I think option A is tearing it out.
Okay, no, you're right.
Demolition, both of them say that.
Nope, the other one's the overlay, Danielle, under option B,
Oh, B, sorry,
which
yes.
is line K. That's an overlay. That's where we're talking about just
What do
putting
you-
a new floor
And I
over
don't
the
really
old
love
floor.
that, if our floor isn't great now.
Well, Greg wasn't too worried about doing that if we did the walk around and found I mean, he thought we could fix it better than it is, but he says it wouldn't be perfect. He did say that.
And then, with either one of these options, I mean, we're supposed to sand it down and kind of recoat it after so many years.
Yes.
So either one of these options, I mean, we're gonna have the same amount of time, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's why I didn't know if that was gonna save us, this one lasts for 10 years, this one lasts for 5 years.
Then we have all those sandings that we could do. However many sandings you can do on the floor
And then,
before you get too thin, correct? On
Yes.
Either one.
Either one.
either one,
Either
okay.
one. Yes, either one.
But we're at the point, we're too thin now.
So the guy that came here last time, he said they're okay with just barely scuffing it up and then revarnishing it.
Uh-huh.
But if you wanted to change like the bulldog, tiger cat.
Yeah,
Like a tiger head or something like that, you
Yeah.
wanted to paint it.
Yeah.
He said he didn't know if you could stand the floor down anymore and stand that stuff out. He said it's 1960.
Yeah.
So he says it has to be, every time you painted on it, over the last, since 1963, you had to sand it down, and then, he didn't know how many times it had been painted, and he guessed at least 2 or 3.
Okay.
It just a guess. So, he didn't think it was a good idea to sand it down.
No.
No, we're done.
And if we didn't have the dead spots, we could probably try to lightly sand it pretty much.
Yep.
Because it isn't, I mean, the coating needs to be redone, but that's not the main problem. The main problem is the dead
That does.
spots.
But the one thing he did say when I talked to him this morning is that if you go through KCDA, the number 3, he said it could be under 300,000. Right. He said he didn't know it.
That's the overlay.
Okay, and they're only gonna maybe give us that if we do the, there's no,
I don't know that, Doug. Do you know that? What, with this, the outfit that you just said, KD, whatever it is,
KCDA.
if we wanted to have a whole new floor, are they gonna give us a good deal on that, or is it just the overlay floor? I don't know the answer to that.
What's a new floor either way?
No, but
If we do like option A, would we get the same price break from them as we are the overlay?
He said it would be less because we're on the fires co-op. Yeah, and the idea was that 100
I'm gonna say, Terry, they're probably, I'm gonna say probably, but
They're probably close, I mean, the ratios have to be kind of close.
I would
right?
think so.
Oakville paid in April of 2023, $151,000 to do the.
And they overlaid, because their floor is above their cafeteria. So they did not want to tear out the old floor
okay,
and expose the ceiling into the cafeteria. That's why they did the overlay.
okay, but they didn't have the dead spots.
Well, they probably did.
I mean, not-
They probably did.
Yeah, something,
I mean,
but-
I don't know of a gym in the whole county that doesn't have a dead spot.
Sure.
I mean, maybe Poland's new one doesn't. I don't know.
And maybe our dead spots aren't bad enough to warrant doing this. I don't know. I mean, that's,
Well, when I came down to the Veterans Center and then I walked back up with a quote from Oakville, and he said the people that did it were really reputable.
Yes, he did. He did say that,
Out of
yeah.
their part. And he said they do really, really good work.
Yep, that's what he
He
said.
said the quote is, pretty good quote, is 151,000.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Right,
And
that's.
I don't know if Greg will ever want to see me again, but Doug was gone, and what I said to Greg was this, and when Greg brought that up about this good reputable company, I said, well, you know, Greg, perfect for me is none too good. So that's how we do it around here. Perfect is none too good for me. And he kind of had, got a little bigger eyes, but that's okay. I don't care. I want him to realize that we want it as close to perfect as it can be.
within reason of cost. Because, well, that floor's been up there for 65 years. And there's a good chance that the next one will probably be there that long again, if we do it. If we do it. So,
Well, and we're gonna have to rehuddle if we don't go through the charter.
yep, we will, for sure.
We're gonna get that $600,000 in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
All of us.
Oh, yeah, no question.
The answer, if they tear out the gym floor, they just tear it out, and I mean, maybe, say if we wanted to keep the old floor, and down the road, we see if we put up some building somewhere, we could use that floor in a practice building.
You can, yes. The answer to that, Tanya, is yes.
You could store it somewhere, the pieces.
You can.
Don't tear it up, you tear it out.
Well, I've looked into buying used floors. And that, they cut them out on 8-foot squares, 8 by 8, and then they number them. And then you can buy a complete gymnasium floor, used floor. It might say Washington State University on it when they put it back together, but you can have it relayed and used. Yes.
That might be something to think about.
The answer to that is yes.
It's kind of like barnwood, I feel like a lot of people like would buy that stuff for.
Most of the, and what you would do, Tanya, on that floor, if you did that, is you pour a concrete floor. You float the concrete floor just like you do in your bathroom at your house, but you do the whole floor, you float the whole thing. And then you lay your old floor back on top of it. That eliminates 99% of the dead spot problem, because it's not suspended. All new gymnasiums now, unless they're on the second floor, are poured with a concrete floor underneath.
Not that we can afford that, I'm just saying, just throwing that out there, what if?
Right. That's what they do. That's how it goes.
To be determined.
To be determined.
All this.
Yep.
I was just shocked. It's, I mean, that's the only one I have, that's the only one I have to compare to, and I'm just.
It always shocks me on any cost estimate to work on this. You know,
Yeah.
you start adding all these things up and you almost feel like we should be able to knock the whole thing down and build a new one. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, from my point of reference, you know, I mean, it's just
Yeah, I agree.
crazy.
Okay,
Okay, well, thanks.
you're welcome.
The last one on the consent agenda is, I stopped down to the election office the other day, because Tommy and I were talking about when we do the swearing in. And Miss said, you can do what you want, but legally the election's not over till the 25th. She said they still collect ballots, and so she just said, why don't you wait till December? So we're ready. So, in the December meeting, we'll do the swearing in for.
We just do it all together.
Daniel and, not Daniel.
Yes, me?
Yeah, did
Yes,
y'all-
and Morgan.
Morgan and me.
We want you guys on the hook as soon as possible, so we'll do it.
well,
Fine, Mr. Miller.
I don't want to be-
yeah, Morgan.
We're already
She's
on the
on
hook.
her own.
Sure, sure.
We can zoom her in if she can. She can just say it.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're done with consent agenda. Moving on to 7, communications of the board, capital levy.
Okay, on the capital, on the pink sheet paper, that's just the latest update on where we're at with the connectors. The drywall people were supposed to be there today to start hanging and taping, starting with the ceiling. I was up there twice, and they were there, but I didn't, they were there and then they left, and then I came back, and then they had to come back. I was gone for a few hours, so anyway, they're supposed to start hanging and doing their drywall this week. Hope to start doing the painting next week once they get everything textured. Laminate the walls, fall into display on the case, and we are gonna get a storage unit. It's gonna be just very movable door. The railing is still an issue for me, but it doesn't sound like I'm not gonna be able to do much about it. I don't want them to put 2 railings on there, if they're gonna lose a foot.
Yeah.
And Greg told me today, it's COVID,
Make
I'm
ends meet widen that.
gonna call him again, I just don't understand that. It's gonna cut it down from 3 feet.
No, from 4 feet, supposedly.
Yeah, I
Supposed to
believe
be
it was
4,
4 feet,
it
yeah.
better be 4.
Yeah, it is 4.
Yeah, it was 4.
But it's gonna cut it down, but it was 6 inches on both sides.
So the railings would be on both sides?
A wheelchair wouldn't have went up a 3-foot door, a 3-foot, Greg, we'd have fouled up if we would have told Greg to make it 4 feet wide.
What's the enough room to install, what's the short door on the mid landing end?
That's the sort of.
Oh, okay, got it.
At the very end of it.
Yep. I know what you're saying, yeah, yep.
I did ask him, because on these, our give a home game after Thanksgiving is on December 1st. And that's what it was with, but I asked him if there's any way we could use it by then. When I talked to him today, he said the only thing that could prevent us from using it legally is the railings. He said the railing will be, he said the railing's up and all the wiring's done and the lights are up. He didn't advise the handicap, he didn't advise using a handicap ramp.
We have,
So,
I don't think we have any.
but he's not, what do you see with that? It's obviously,
We gotta buy that.
nobody's happy with how slow it's going, but
And we,
everybody I talked to is not happy with it.
and we did touch on because our bill, the special builder's insurance we had to buy runs out January, that second week of January. And I talked to them last week and told them, no, they've said that they're gonna be done with this project by the end of November. And I would let them know if it goes on, but Fernando does know that we're letting that insurance expire. So it has to be done by the end of December.
We have 2 crews up there right now. One is doing the siding, the
Exterior siding.
exterior siding. They put the paper around it, and now they have to go by and put 1x1s, or 1x4s up around the outside, and then put this new, like a wall, it's like it goes on the outside, and then the siding goes upside. So there's the framework, the paper, and then wood, and then barrier, and then the
What did they tell us their end date was?
November something.
I know,
the end of November.
I don't know. Okay, so now we're
We're fine, our insurance, our village risk insurance is good through all of December, and it's set to expire, I don't remember the exact date, like January 12th or something.
But you're telling me it's not happening at the end of November, or extended
Well,
in December?
The substantial completion date they gave me a couple of weeks ago was the 28th.
Of November.
Oh, okay,
Which is, yeah, Thanksgiving.
which they're probably not working on. Okay,
And we can't insure with our normal insurance company until we've got substantial completion. Right?
You know, Doug,
This, on the back side of that is the response I got from Greg on the.
the railing.
okay, when I was up here, when I was here, when Greg came, I stopped and talked to the 2 guys that were working at the connector. I said, you guys, this is about as slow a project as I've ever seen in my entire life. And I said, does Magnum want any more work from us? Because if they don't, they're working on it real well. Because I won't hire them again. I mean, they've been pushing this number back and back and back for too long. And the head guy, whoever that is, I'm ready to talk to him. And he needs to be told that. I mean, it's unacceptable. I mean, I built spec houses in Pullman and I've never had this type of delay. I mean, never. I mean, and that is as simple as, Terry and I could have that done on weekends.
Hired.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying though. I mean, after the concrete was done, which we could not have done It's about as simple as it gets. I mean, I don't know, I just don't get it. I mean, we're talking about what, not even 500 square feet of area. I mean, and I'm not complaining to you, I'm not mad at you about it, I'm just, wow, you guys. Anyway, that's enough for me on that.
Okay.
Anyway, I think we're down the list and these guys are doing other jobs and coming and filling in ours.
It's a small job.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
Well, they're commuting from Lewiston now too.
Yeah.
So that's-
Better get on it before the weather gets worse.
Danielle's on my side, it looks like.
So they're leaving early also.
Yes,
They're
to
leaving
get home.
About 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3:30. Anyway, I just shocked how long it's taken to do this little project. Well, what if you hired them to build a new school on my land?
Didn't get that quick.
Okay, Mr. Miller. I'll hold you to that one. Okay, you done with capital, Doug?
Yeah.
Okay, safety?
Teresa's gone now, so.
Okay, we're passing on that.
Yesterday, said I'm gone.
Okay, technology, Mr. Gates.
Nothing on the tech side to report,
Okay,
just the normal stuff, so I'll just go into sports.
okay, great.
Doug already kind of covered that with middle school being in full swing. So we got 7 boys, 8 girls. Junior high girls will start after the break for basketball. We've got 8 to 10 there, depending on how many 5th graders want to play. So kind of just doing that there. High school, we kind of sat them down with the boys and finally just gave them an ultimatum, say we got no. It was in out, 2 of them said no. So that kind of ended it because we were at 5 and that kind of
Two of the 5 said no.
2 of the 5 said no. So they had tried to convince a 6th, saying that the 6th was going to do it. And every time I talked to him, he said no. So we were only at 5, and we kind of explained that and what the schedule would look like. And 2 of them then said no, they didn't want to play. So that's kind of when we moved ahead with everything. So Colby and I sat down and talked. That was kind of when we decided. He said no with the junior high stuff. So because he was kind of waiting on that. Girls wise, it was always iffy, and 2 of them were not on board with it really at all. And there wasn't anything we were going to be able to do to convince them to play, and that put us at 3. So we were just kind of, that's where we are, because I know there's other stuff we had discussed, but that was kind of where numbers were on that, so.
Do you think there's any interest in those boys doing anything related to basketball this winter? Even if it was, no kind of league, no kind of schedule really, other than maybe a couple pickup games for something, or an alumni game.
I think maybe they might be. I mean, so of the ones that were going to play, one of them was really going to play if there was a team. So like he would have played if there would have been enough. So he was kind of even a week commit of the 3. The other 2, I don't know how much their hearts were in it after last year, to be honest. I don't think they were super excited. And the other 2, one of them was really hard to get a read on any time on what he's thinking. And the other one was kind of a surprise, but was very upfront on this and said, no, I don't. So.
But that was playing some type of league, or some type of formal schedule, something, right?
I mean, we were even just sitting there saying, hey, we want to know what it is, what you guys want to do. I mean, I'm not saying they'd be opposed to an alumni game, but we didn't really ask them that either. But I wouldn't say anybody was sitting there gung-ho, we really want to play basketball. Like, nobody was sitting there trying to pull anybody else along. It was all us trying to pull the kids. Trying to get them to give us a straight answer was very frustrating at times, because they would go back and forth and say one thing. That's kind of why Colby and I sat them down both, because they were giving us different answers, and we said, we got to know, like, what do you guys want to do? And it was pretty clear the 2 of them were just kind of, yeah.
So they're not gonna regret that decision next year? Are they gonna be like?
Oh, we told them that, because they kind of made a comment, and we're like, we don't have numbers, man. Like, it's gonna be worse
Next year.
next year.
Yeah.
Because there's no boys in the 7th grade.
I know.
So, I mean, you're not picking up anybody, and it was one of those two where, you know, we've got one 8th grader playing junior high, and that's the right choice. And
Yes.
so, it wouldn't have been good to have him out with high school kids in any way, shape, or form. And so, like, we kind of told him, like, this isn't gonna be something we're gonna pick up and be able to go back into, and it was just kind of, I don't know, it's frustrating, because you don't know exactly where everybody stands all the time.
Do, as the coach, would it help the younger kids for some of, to have a couple of those high school kids that wanted to play come and help in middle school practices and those things, so that those younger kids could see the older kid that they look up to possibly? Would that be important or not important?
So, I mean, that's what we did. I mean, when I was coming through the program, it was older kids that were helping, and then I did the same thing, and that's how I started coaching. I don't know how interested they are, and I don't know how well our junior high kids would be receptive to it. It's kind of one of those things where somebody's like, well, what if we brought in kids to scrimmage? And it's like, well, we're not even there. We can't dribble, and we can't
Sure.
do that stuff. It doesn't do you any good to scrimmage because we're so lost to begin with. The way I look at it is where our kids are now is where I was as a 3rd grader. I wasn't great, but I knew Dad coached, I was in the gym. But it's like the skill set that I was being taught as a 3rd grader is what we're having to teach junior high kids.
These kids have never played a game.
Right.
Their first game was last week. Out of all of them, one kid played Saturday ball for 1 year. Maybe 2 of them played Saturday ball for 1 year. They have never seen a game or played a game. Like, it was like a shock to them. Like, they went up the court. We're behind.
I know we're behind. That's why I brought it up, is because maybe that's a couple of those high school boys that could dribble, possibly. I don't
They can
know.
definitely show what dribbling looks
They
like
can
and all
bring
that, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know,
And actually take one of those middle school boys and just be one-on-one during that drill time, just so that you guys didn't have to bounce around to all of them that don't know how to dribble.
Yeah.
I'm just
No.
asking a question.
Yeah, no, and I would normally say yes without saying things that I probably should. say
Okay.
in public.
Okay.
So,
Can I speak?
Sure,
And
you
it's
can
from my
speak.
mom perspective again. I think, you said that those kids have done Saturday basketball or been in the league. At this point of where they're at, you're gonna have to draw them in with fun versus because they're gonna get discouraged and they're gonna quit.
Yep, we're our
So it's
For our
just
gym.
for the youth wants coming up, how do you make it fun for them so that they want to be in that gym, even if they're not very good, because that's what's gonna start building those skills for them.
We need to really target our young kids right now.
And that might be, like Jeff was just saying, that might be bringing in some high school kids that they're just loving that attention from
Yes.
those high school kids that's making it fun for them. That's just.
Like I said, I mean, that's how we ran intramurals at Palmer, was the high school kids were running it, and then you got in and there was that buy-in long-term of now you were this and now you're giving back to what those kids gave back to you when you were there. And there's, like I said, like there's more going on behind that creates.
Okay.
But like it's good, and I've talked to Steve, because Steve's doing the stuff daily with youth of kind of where we're at and just saying, hey, this is where we have to focus because, so they started, Parks and Rec started that Saturday stuff. And so just saying, hey, this is where we're struggling with dribbling and passing. And
Sure,
so
I understand.
it's good. I mean, and I think the younger parents in that group is doing a good job. It's like I'm worried with, it doesn't do us any good. Like TR was great. When they came, we told them they brought all 20 kids and they played platoon ball where they had like 2 older kids and 2 younger kids and ran through stuff, and they treated it like it was a scrimmage with somebody else, and then they platoon and they do the same thing, 2 young guys, 2 old guys. They got ahead and then they kept it 20 the rest of the game, and we had some success, and they got something out of it, we got something out of it, but it's trying to find that right balance of doing that every night. And I've been telling ADs, like, we're young, we're not
right.
there, and they've been good. It's just, and even I think with Colton, I think it was just nobody quite knew. And I wasn't there for that one, but it turned into deer in the headlights more than
Sure.
anything too, and then it snowballed, it sounded like, so.
So, does, our numbers, 7, okay. Does Endicott, are they having a junior high program over there at all?
Not for boys. Girls, it sounds like they will have enough for boys. The 8th graders all play up.
8th graders all played up.
But it didn't turn out.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's what they're doing. Is
the 8th graders are playing up.
Into high school?
Yeah.
By that?
Mhm.
Okay. I just needed to know that answer to that question. Okay.
But I think when you get in high school, I think wrestling is the same time as.
It is, yeah, that's
Basketball.
what, yeah, it is, but I mean, as we're looking forward, if we're not gonna have numbers for a while. And I know, I talked to, Bethany just a little bit about that because they start wrestling at 4,
Yes.
which Bo will be 4 when wrestling starts, so let's just think about playing in wrestling. To do that, that's why we were talking about it, but how do we partner with youth sports here to try to get what we need so that they can have some wrestling in our gym and not have to
Yes,
do
travel.
everything in pullbacks that would, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I don't think you could have tournaments here. Could be. We don't have any wrestling.
Well, you'd have to, if we're gonna have wrestling, we're gonna be buying wrestling.
We've
masks.
talked about that in the past
We've
too.
talked about that in the past.
Hey.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, in
No,
I don't know what the numbers are,
I talked
because they're
about
always
that.
they're with Endicott, so I don't know what the numbers are from actually our school versus Endicott that does wrestling. But I feel like it is a good turnout.
I just, I understand the situation over at Endicott probably, better than most. But what are their 7th grade kids, just the Endicott kids doing for basketball? I mean, would they come here if we had offered? I mean, because if they don't have a program, they can go anywhere they want.
We have
And that's state law. I mean, as long as they're accepted in, that's state law. So, I don't know, maybe that would help our middle school program. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. I don't know.
But then you're looking into inviting St. John people over.
For what?
I said we would have to invite all of the Endicott. We had some people that wanted to come play over here
For
from
what?
Endicott for basketball.
Well, then why didn't we let them?
Because we legally would have to invite them all, wouldn't we?
No.
Yeah, they're part of a co-op,
Yeah,
so you would have had to invite that entire.
that's what we broke away from.
You can't say yes to Endicott right now and say no to St. John. You have to take St. John Endicott.
Yes. And we can't take one kid. Yeah, but yes, we'll take you because
That's their middle school. You have to take, you can't say, oh, this kid who's in this part of that middle school.
Yeah.
You have to take their entire middle school. You can't.
at least offer it to them. We have to offer
But
it.
frankly, it wouldn't have mattered, because all the ones that wouldn't have wanted to come over anyway, they're already going to St. John, the older ones. And the other ones, it wouldn't have mattered, right?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
There's people.
I don't know either, but that was the mentality we had, was that we're done with that.
Yes. Yeah.
For this year.
There's people mad because their kids aren't playing. We could have taken them.
Yeah, I mean, and that'd be a legal question, you know, what can we do? But anyway.
Okay. '70 legislative policy.
It actually has that for you.
Okay.
There's this little picture thing in here.
Uh-huh.
I went to this last Thursday. And it was, they started doing this a couple of years ago. And it's actually pretty good. At the bottom are the legislators that were there. And it has their name, if you can see it, and also has their district. The two people that were from our district are on the bottom there, Joe Smick and Mark Chesler. But they had some people from, well, District 7, 4, 3. I'm not hard knows where all these districts are at. We did have 2 representatives, but they also had, these are all Eastern Washington.
Yep. Yep.
So, and what the way that they ran the program is the superintendents at ESD have a committee that works on legislative priorities, and they gave their presentations first. And that was the very top up there, where it says introduction and Richmond spotlights. And I'll just kind of briefly go over what their priorities are. The first one was TTK, that was Eric Sportenberg. He's on the legislative committee, and he pushed pretty hard for the transitional kindergarten to expand. Because transitional kindergarten, this year they allowed schools to do it that had done it before, but it had to be funded at the same funding as the year before, regardless of how many kids you had. So, like say last year you had 10, and last year you had 6, and this year you had 10. You only get funded for 6. And so what he was pushing for was to open it back up again, to open it up so that more schools could try to get involved in transitional kindergarten. He had quite a bit of data to support how kids that go through transitional kindergarten, how well they do. And was really pushing hard to legislature to do that. The next person was the person for medical aid superintendent, and they're pushing hard for special ed funding. Is there 60% cap now or no cap? Special ed funding.
Special ed.
There's no cap. So they were really high percentage of their kids on special ed. Number 3 was the big one, and that was on the AMSA. Most of the superintendent groups that I have Zooms with, because of the economic forecast and because of the budget the way it is, they're pushing hard to help increase MSOC, which is material supplies operational costs. And they talked about how much things have gone up. The average district in Eastern Washington, their insurance costs have gone up 65%. We talked about that in the last years. And then the last one had to do with small school modernization. I don't think there's been a school in Eastern Washington that has been able to pass a bond for years and years. And so they talked about the small school modernization, and the one that we received the $6 million. They just talked about that, and it's about the only way that small schools are able to afford to do anything at all. They gave the example of Elmira. I think Elmira, even if they ran a levy, were only able to generate, I think, $4 million, and it costs $32 million to build a levy. So they use that as an example. Without the small school modernization, there's no way. And then they let the legislators start talking, and I'll just kind of share with you what they kind of shared. Mark, the very first guy he talked was the guy on the top left-hand corner. They talked about the budget shortfall. He was kind of from the Northeast, and they got issues like this, and those kind of things. We talked about that. Mark spent quite a bit of time talking. Of course, he talked a lot about politics and about the other side. But But he did talk about the capital budget and how he was proposing some new small school construction improvements. And he was pretty big on that, and he wouldn't share what it was going to be, but he did say that he felt that small school construction was one of the biggest needs in the state, especially on the east side. And he did mention the fact that Edward Stills Hospital could be closed. And he talked about that in his district, that was going to be a big thing. He also talked about, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, but Prescott may be closing. They may be closing because they just out of money.
Yep.
And so they're talking about, kind of shared with some of the mistakes that they made, some of the things that have happened, talked about having to condemn some of their buildings. But there's a pretty good chance that we just keep closing. The bad thing about that is Prescott, according to Mark and some of the other people that talk, is actually a pretty high performing school. And the schools that those kids will have to go to are schools that are really struggling. And so it's a pretty sad deal for the people in Prescott because they really supported their school. Seem to have a lot of good things going on educationally, but they can't keep their buildings. And they fail tons of levies, and it's just been a mess. So he did talk about that there are schools that, because of not being able to maintain their buildings, not being able to pass bonds, not being able to pass capital levies, it could end up like Prescott. Because they're really real happy to go through the days and have no hard. Joe got up and talked about healthcare. He talked about the hospital quite a bit too. The lady at the top, she had hit on one of her big things was transitional kindergarten. She was a really big pusher on that. But she was also a big pusher on school safety. She was really big on school safety and felt that the state wasn't making things mandatory enough. It cost money. She was up there on that.
What were the things that she thought should be happening or not?
She felt that there should be money for trauma people on staff. She states she's trying to come up with a way to provide jobs for people on staff, like food safety people and trauma response. She could care less.
Yeah.
And she also talked to you about cost of rentals, that people were moving out of small towns, or moving to small towns and bigger towns. Obviously, somewhat cheaper. The other guy, Hornsby, they all talked about the budget. Very first thing that came out of my mind, every single one of them was the budget. There was a lot of talk about low income for food. We talked about getting food for low income kids. Healthcare was a big thing. Suzanne Smith is she's fourth district, but it's gonna be see her about what's going to do that was her sports district.
I don't know.
What she talked about, the tax. It's interesting. She talked about her perception is that one reason why the local station's has trouble is because of personal business. She said the tax structure is set up. The tax structure is set up so that people are leaving Washington.
Right.
And she said it's not just the east side. She said on the west side, thousands of workers who are transplanted to other states because people are just pulling businesses. I don't know if she's Democrat or Republican, but she talked about it. She's really but
She's Republican.
I don't know. But it was interesting that
Yeah.
that she was the only one that seemed to talk about find a way to generate more money. She did talk about that. One thing that they all talked about was this was the very first policy we have about educating the kids for jobs that don't require a four-year college education. Some of the highest paying jobs out there are like electricians, some of those things. As you said, there are colleges on the west side that, well, she thought the east side should do this too, that our colleges on the west side, but if you're gonna go into HVAC or an electrical engineer or just an electrician, they will pay you to go to school. And I had dinner with my daughter and her son, her husband, a couple nights ago, and they worked for they were pretty high up in the cell phone technology business back then. And she said that the electricians that work for them make more money now than the engineers. She said that there are electricians graduating from schools over in Seattle that are starting out like $200,000. Electricians. She said that schools should be doing more than that, getting kids ready to get those kinds of jobs. Go to college for a year or two, start out as a journeyman and making a ton of money. Because there's so much stuff that requires inspections and I don't know. But anyway, it was just interesting to hear him talk about that he felt that schools should go that direction. And it kind of went along a little bit with that first policy. But it was interesting to talk. Transitional kindergarten, small schools construction, there's almost every superintendent that was there had a sad story to say about their buildings and how they just couldn't raise enough money to keep them up. And all the schools that were like 1940s, 1950s, Republic, and some of those schools that are right up in the northeastern part, very old brick buildings. They're worried about getting enough money to fix them. It's interesting because there's just nobody can pass it off anymore. Even on the west side.
Spokane just passed a bill.
Ron?
Yeah, for what, 13 new schools or whatever it was. I mean, it was a horrendous amount of money. Horrendous amount of money.
Maybe it's more of a small school.
And it was, they did it in conjunction with the city on certain, like playground stuff and park stuff and schools. It was all combined. Doug, and I'm all for the branching out for electricians and all that, but what this policy does to us is it's an unfunded mandate because we don't have the resources to put those things in place to teach these kids. I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, I'd love to have some type of center to teach electricians or to teach plumbers or teach somebody, but we don't have the resources to do that. And so that is what's concerning me about them forcing a policy. And then the other part of the policy for me, and this is being kind of a Debbie Downer, it takes away from kids that should be learning reading, writing, and arithmetic like we did, and it helps their graduation rates, and it helps their test scores, and it helps all that, so that it makes it look better for the taxpayers in those districts. So that's the underlying issue for me. I mean, there's my concerns about that policy. I mean, there's districts that have, you can get your CDL and they have trucks where the kids are learning it. But unless you have a sponsor for that, you can't work. And I hate the word can't, but it would be very difficult for us to pull that off here to today.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been if they wouldn't have cut our funding from $600,000 to $250,000. Then we'd have had a chance to do those things. But that didn't happen for us. And they won't even address that.
You don't think they would send any funding with this?
Zero. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I think this is a great forum. I like the deal. I mean, a couple of these people down here, I don't like at all. But I just see unfunded mandates coming to us.
Well, and I think that from the superintendents and the groups that are involved in the legislature, they understand that. And I think that's why this next year pushed really hard for MSAR. They think that's their only concern. But they really pushed hard not to drop the small school modernization.
Sure,
Because that could, but I think that comes from a different pot.
probably.
So they told me, said, if you drop that, schools are gonna close. Because it's the only way, we can't raise $6 million. And that's just to fix the HVAC.
Right.
You know, and that's not building a new building.
Right.
Well, isn't the state's budget getting worse every time they revise it?
Well, yeah, because they keep, yeah, because, yeah.
Right.
They're talking about that policy though, and then they're trying to push. Wait, is that like more in the tech school? They want more
Yes.
type programs. Our teachers are already spread, you got Jeff teaching how many different high school courses? So now they're gonna add more requirements, but they're not gonna give us funding to hire another teacher to teach those courses. They're just gonna force us to teach more classes.
I think a lot of the parents are trying to get some kids back.
Well, sure they are.
Tech centers. My grandson said there's more kids going to take that than there was Post Falls High School.
They've had
And
those
it's
for a
great
long
if you
time.
live next to
Yeah.
a city that offers it.
I know.
But how far do we have to drive our kids to do that anyway? You know, and our tech kids are gonna go to tech school anyway. It's, you know, what they do, it almost all is a 2-year program and they're done, so.
There's a lot of kids, like your grandson, Doug, that, my grandson's done it with his senior year during the day at 1:30, and he's going to work at a place. He's doing mentor work, you know, he's being mentored at a working place. He's got 2 other friends who are doing the exact same thing. One guy's doing welding, one guy's doing powder coating, they're all leaving at 1:30 and going and doing it, because that's what they think they're going to do when they're done with high school.
There's a program I saw at a high school in Montana, I think it might be Missoula, and they build a house a year, their FFA builds a house a year. Well, they've got 30 kids building that house a year now.
Not 3, not 3.
You can only do what you can do when you're from a small school.
Might not be like in their.
Take those 30 kids and.
I might not.
After.
Right,
I might not, but whatever.
but I do like the sentiment behind it.
But we're all different, all schools are different, it's not fine, but it's us and our kids.
So we'll pass over the principal report.
She has.
She has them written.
She sent it to me today and I
Okay.
copied it up for you.
So what's the tech-free week for 6th graders? She just decided to just do that? It wasn't like a behavior thing?
No, it was.
Oh, okay. Got it. But she's only doing it for a week.
Well, it was this week and it was last week.
Oh, through things. Going well?
Sorry, I think it's.
I don't have them, so.
Oh, yeah, you don't, you're right.
But I know that there was a lot of problems.
Okay, we're moving on to finance. Finance report?
Yeah, I already gave you guys the capital one the capital spreadsheet handout, we kind of went over it. And I told you I would bring, the F-196, it's 200 some pages. So I just brought the bottom line sheet that you can see, this is where we started, the fund balance in each of our accounts, and then where we ended. So we've got our revenue and expenditure. So the big one is, of course, that general fund. You can see that our revenues in the general fund account, 3,137,000. Our expenditures were 3,177,000. So we overspent 40,000 in that account. And then our total ending fund balance is 470,000. That's where I thought, okay, it's gonna be closer to that 300. We're up, but we did not pay our athletic bills to St. John Indy Pot yet for last year, which would have dropped that to probably 40,000. So.
Still nothing.
Is there a statute of limitations on
I
that?
know, that's what I was like.
About
I I don't know.
It's about
I think that they're aware of it, and Kurt has been brought up once or twice, I just have not seen a bill yet, so.
Nothing can come back on us, right? They're trying to do
No.
this, so, okay.
No, and when we talked the beginning of last year, that we were going to be billed after each sport, and then we
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about it, okay, so I'm gonna receive the bill for fall sports, and then it was just an ongoing thing, so that's where we're at right now. So our fund balance looks prettier than it would have, I just want you guys to be aware of that, so. ASB fund balance, 42,000, that's the kids fund balance. Capital projects, we ended 24-25 with 559,000, and that should be pretty close if you look at the other spreadsheet I gave you. It's gonna be off from that a little bit because we have a couple months into this school year that we've spent. The transportation vehicle fund, we ended at the 352,000. We have 2 new buses coming. We're expecting one possibly next week. And the other one will be here in December. So those are the ones that we had ordered last year. And asked them to wait until September. Well, they're still doing what they need to do before they get them to us.
And can I say that?
Yes.
We also have 3 people leaving the bus driver training.
Oh,
And so hopefully by January 1st, we'll have 3 new bus drivers. Seth's one of them. Seth and Lane and Randy.
That's great.
Because we're probably we're supposed to lose a bus driver.
But with that being said, if you guys want the full thing, let me know and I will email it to you.
I think Arm just said it.
No, I did not.
I have
midnight reading for you. What are pages?
there is a summary, but the summary's still a lot of pages.
There. You're not either. Yes. Okay. Danielle, were you the bill checker?
We're good.
We're good.
Yep.
I'd entertain a motion to pay the October bills, October payroll and November bills.
I'll approve the October payroll and November bills, the total of $310,018.97.
Sorry.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the October payroll, November bills in the amount of $310,018.97. All in favor? Say aye. All opposed? Passes. Pay the bills, please. Okay. Executive session.
It'll look a little different to you.
Oh, yes, I saw that, yes.
Okay, I didn't know if I was gonna be back today, because I
Okay,
didn't know
no.
what was happening, it was from yesterday, so I came in Sunday and I sent it out, so that's.
Oh, okay, no, that's not.
We'll have a 30-minute executive session. Authorized under RCW 423110 for the purpose of evaluating an application for public employment, reviewing performance of a public employee. No final action on these matters will be taken during the executive session. We'll sign the stuff first, though.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Yes.